All right, now we appear to be actually live. So,
Very good. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, commissioners. Good evening to the public that has joined us. Welcome to the April 30, 2024 Art and Public Places Commission meeting. I will call the meeting to order. We had a little bit of a delay at 7:05. And I'm not gonna do a roll call. I'm just gonna, with us this evening so far, Joan Brady, Shelley Bancroft, David Arthur, Cynthia Tolles, and Krissa Rich. And Krissa is on the phone. And Cynthia does not have a camera, is that right? So you can't see her. So, you cannot see Cynthia or Krissa when they're talking. So I'm going to ask that they both say their names when they're called upon, so that people know who's speaking. And I will ask for an approval of the agenda.
I move the agenda be approved. It's David.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
This is Krista, aye.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah, Krista, so the public can't see you, but we can tell when you're talking, but people on YouTube cannot tell when you're talking. Okay, so I sent the very detailed March meeting minutes that Jim did to you all for review. When we submit them to the city, they will not be that detailed. So we need action items only. So, but I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes to have them entered into the record.
This was last month, right? I wasn't at last month's
Yeah.
meeting.
No, you were not.
Okay, so you made it just that because it has me as an attendee.
Oh, okay. So we should make that correction. Thank you,
Yes.
David. Any other corrections to the minutes?
I wasn't there either. This is Krista.
Okay. Are you on there too?
They say absent. It says absence, David
Oh.
Arthur, Krista.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
I see that. Okay, now.
okay. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as recorded.
Second.
No, I need it first.
I'll move to accept the minutes as written.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any,
Aye.
okay. Okay. Are there any no's? Very good. Okay, thank you. Right, so we have several prospective grantees with us here this evening. And we're going to start with 3. Now, I have a note. Well, I have a special request. So in the agenda, you'll see that there's an item that's after this item number 5. It says chair's request. And I would like to I'm hoping that we can suspend the rules this evening so that we can hear from the other 2 groups, the AIDS Quilt and Chambers Park. These groups submitted their applications, but were not considered at our last meeting to make a presentation this evening. But both events are timely, and so if there is agreement, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules to hear from the AIDS Quilt and the Chambers Park. And those, both those proposals were in the folder, in the Google folder. Is there a motion?
Yes. Let's hear them.
All right. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay. Thank you, Joan. It's been moved and properly seconded that we hear from the AIDS Quilt and the Chambers Park groups this evening, their presentations. All in favor, please say aye. Aye, please say aye.
I,
Okay, and is there any opposition to that? Is there any? Okay. All right, so the motion carries. Thank you. All righty, so we have five prospective grantees to hear from this evening. And first on the agenda is
I'm sorry, real quick,
Annapolis.
Lynn.
Yes,
Who made the motion to review the two?
Jenny, Shelley.
Thank you,
Shelley. Mhm.
thank you.
All right, so and we're going to go in this order. The first is Annapolis History Wiki, then the Inner West Street First Sunday Dining Under the Stars, the Kunta Kinte Festival. Actually, you know what? We're going to take the AIDS Quilt and then Chambers Park, and then we'll do Kunta Kinte because they sent us a video, so they're not waiting, right? So why make people wait while we show a video from another group? So, alrighty. So, Madeline, can you bring forward Mark Hildebrand from Make Your Mark Media? There he is. Hello, Mark.
Good evening. How's everyone?
Good. We're great. So thank you for joining us this evening. We're excited to hear for you to tell us about your project. We have all reviewed the proposal, but we want to hear more in detail, and the public has not. So please feel free to take the next 2 or 3 minutes to tell us about your project.
Okay. I'm not sharing the right screen. Hang on. Try that one.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So this is about the Annapolis History Wiki, whose web address is passport.org, and specifically about our Oral Histories Initiative. First of all, Make Your Mark Media, we are a nonprofit film production company based in Annapolis. We were founded in 2009. We've done a couple of documentary films on public television about Maryland history and music. Make Your Mark Media is contracted to run and administer the TV studio for the city of Annapolis, but we've already checked with the Office of Law, and there is no conflict as far as us making a ask from you all. We regularly run summer internship programs with Anne Arundel County Public Schools. The last 5 or 6 years have been primarily with what used to be the Performing and Visual Arts Magnet Program. It's now called APEX. And we usually bring on students that are in the film production specialty area. We created the Annapolis History Wiki with our first set of interns, which were actually from the STEM program. And the idea was to create sort of a duplicate of what Wikipedia does, except instead of it being facts and figures and hard information, have it more be about stories and about people. And some of those stories can be not 100% accurate. People's memories vary from person to person. So we really hope that we can capture more of the essence of some of the people and events and places around Annapolis, and hear people's memories of other people that made impressions on their lives. The Annapolis History Wiki is free and open to the public, and my hope is that the more people that participate with it will then end up contributing their own stories, adding to them, maybe in some cases contradicting them, but really beginning a dialogue that you would kind of hear around a table with different people remembering things different ways. We've got a few oral histories on the wiki. We recently filmed over at the Seafarers Yacht Club with 2 of the past Commodores, and we put a couple of those short videos on the wiki. I'm hoping that with this program, we can also branch out into capturing some of the stories of the community theaters around town, productions, people that are no longer with us, maybe some memories of Marmaduke's and the piano bar there. I'm also talking with Valerie Mills Cooper, who was the daughter of Walter Mills, who was the principal of Mills Elementary, and seeing if she would be interested in helping us initiate oral histories of teachers, and primarily what impact teachers in the Annapolis area have made on the lives of their students, and specifically music teachers, because that's my own personal interest. And she was a chorus teacher at Annapolis High School when I was there back in the 80s. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, can you see this? This is the actual wiki itself. It works just like Wikipedia, where you can type in a search for something. So if I typed in Mills, I would get Mr. Mills's page. And here we've added some information that came out of the, there was a celebration of the parole community about 10 years ago, and they printed up a wonderful biography of him. It's a little too much information and a little too dry. So I'm hoping that we can spice it up a little bit with people who can share their memories of him. I personally remember riding on the school bus to high school. He was retired at that point. We went right past his house, and he was out clipping roses every day, working on his rose collection. We have the ability to add video, and this is a short video that we've put together for the National Park Service walking tour of Annapolis, and it features Mr.
Here on Lawyers Mall, the Thurgood Marshall Memorial. That decision declared U.S. Supreme Court.
So you can see there's an
Early in his
component.
NAACP career, Marshall represented Annapolis educator Walter S. Mills, the principal of Parole Elementary School, later
Be made
renamed in his honor,
full-size for
in his
reviewing.
lawsuit against the Anne Arundel County Board of Education.
Some of the other areas, here's the Seafarers Yacht Club. And you can see we have two
my understanding.
videos. We try and keep them short, usually only a minute or so. And we're trying to parse them down so they cover specific subject areas. And what's another one? Again, it can be audio recordings, it can be transcripts of interviews, that sort of thing. So our
That's what you
budget
were
that we
talking-
presented, you can see that Make Your Mark Media has some money in its reserves that we're willing to spend on the project. We're asking for some matching funding. We had hoped to get some funding from the Maryland Historic Trust. Last year, we applied for a grant, we didn't get it. So we believe, though, that if we can get some funding, we can get this moving and use our summer intern this summer to really focus on it and branch out. And if you have any questions or need any more information about Make Your Mark Media, I've got the link to our website there as well.
Thank you. And you'll share that, the slides with us so that, or you can send them to me so that I can share them with the
Sure,
other
it's
commissioners.
Google Slides, so you should be able to access it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Hildebrand? Jeff. You're on mute.
Hi there. Just a quick one. Is this accessible to the public? I know, I just tried to look it up and I can't find it. It's defaulting to the word passport or auto spelling or, so if I just put in passport.org, everyone can find this.
Yep.
Theoretically.
Yep, that's the URL, and I get that autocorrect all the time, and it's a little frustrating. Maybe not the greatest decision for a name, but I figured it did cover the fact that it was a portal to the past, so a passport.
And then how are people becoming aware of this?
So I did a workshop over at the Bates Heritage area pre-pandemic, trying to get some historians together so that they would get interested in contributing some of their own information. A few of them have dabbled with it, but the problem is it just needs momentum. It needs more information so that people will be more accustomed to its existence and also see how it works. One thing I forgot to demonstrate for you, we did started a page on the old Fourth Ward, and there's a wonderful storytelling website that the county put together a few years ago. And so we linked to that. So the idea is that we're not trying to reproduce what's already been done out there, but to actually drive people to some of the other resources and have the History Wiki act as more of a hub. So as that catches on, it's really just going to depend upon people's awareness and word of mouth. But part of our budget is to actually do some promotion of it and some public events, so that
Mark,
we can.
Thank you.
can I ask you? Thank you. Am I on there? I think my big concern is how it actually relates.
Hang on, Shelley. David has his hand up, so I'm gonna have him go and then I'll come to you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hi.
Just a couple questions for you. How long has the site been up?
We started it about 6 years ago, and it's got a beautiful skeleton. It just needs meats on the bone.
And do you guys capture any analytics, like your users, page time, any of that? Any
No,
analytics?
it doesn't function that way. It works off of an open platform called MediaWiki, which is what Wikipedia is based on. We can track the number of active users and their contributions. We also have the ability, if there's a user that is posting inappropriate information, we can block them,
Gotcha.
remove them, roll back their edits, and that sort of thing. But luckily, that hasn't happened yet.
Cool, great, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, Shelley, go ahead.
I just in general, I have a hard time believing that this is eligible for arts funding. And I'm wondering if you can explain that, because it seems more of a history project than arts related. And I don't know how we would fit into that.
Well, I was actually prompted it actually gave me the idea to ask you all for money when I heard about another documentary oral history project that you all were reviewing and considering. And so I thought if that was actually something that would be in the cards, then this is, a preservation of history, and it's an art form. The actual filmmaking is in itself an art form. The other nice part about this is that we can create short videos very quickly instead of waiting for a full documentary or someone to write an entire book or something like that. So this can get out as it's being built.
Awesome, thank you. Cynthia or Krista, do either of you have questions? Since you can't raise your hands.
This is Cynthia. I commend you, Mark. I think this is fabulous. This is local. And yes, we do strive for arts and culture, and documenting our culture, especially with the generation, some of which were the greatest generation, that are passing day by day. So I think this oral history documentation, the city of Annapolis, and, the folks who contributed, I think it's a very worthwhile project. And I have to say, really keep up the good work. This is great. This is really great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Jim.
Thank you. Shelley, the written word is an art form in itself.
I'm sorry, Jim, is there a question for Mr. Hildebrand?
No, I just wanted to comment.
Okay, so we can do that during our deliberation.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that would be great.
And I want to thank Mark. It was really nice.
Thanks.
Thank you. I just want to move to the next group so that people aren't waiting.
Yep.
But thank you. Alrighty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Have a nice evening,
You
and
too.
we appreciate the work you've done.
Thanks.
Thank you. Alrighty. So the Interwest Street, Audrey Lee should be here.
Audrey, I'm sending a prompt to your screen so that you can comment as a panelist. If you accept it, you'll be able to turn your audio and video on. There we go. She should be on in a second.
There we are. Thank you. Good evening, Audrey. Thank you for joining us. Hi. Hi. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everyone.
For those of you who do not know, Audrey apparently is a arts facilitator all around town. And
More than I I'm everywhere.
she is the person who hangs our exhibits at City Hall and at the Pitt Moyer Rec Center. And so she's here this evening representing the Inner West Street Business Association, I guess it is, and the
Yes.
Dining Under the Stars. So welcome, Audrey, and
Hi.
we'd like to hear from you. All of the commissioners have reviewed your proposal, but we would like for you to share your information with us, any additional information with us, as well as with the public.
Sure. Well, first of all, so if you don't know me, I'm Audrey. I manage all the events that are on Inner West Street as well, and I appreciate you inviting us to share our proposal tonight. And if you have not experienced anything on the Inner West Street, we are certainly would love to have you. And if I may, can I share a video real quick? And there you have it. That's West Street.
Thank you.
Each year, sure. So each year, Dinner Under the Stars season kicks off in the month of May, where 6 restaurants and businesses bring cafe dining to the street and great music. This year, we kick off the season with a fantastic Motown concert on Saturday, May 18th, where folks from the Annapolis area and beyond will come and dine and dance the night away. Then we continue with music and entertainment on every Wednesday and Saturday night through May through September. We include ballet, local musicians, and other entertainment. And just as a note, you are not required to dine while you are being entertained. It's free to the public. You can bring your lawn chair and just enjoy the fresh air and outdoors. So we encourage everyone to come. So Dinner Under the Stars season all along entertains approximately 25,000 Annapolitans and visitors. Our May through June budget is approximately $10,500. Our other big event is our first Sunday Arts Festival, which entertains approximately 30,000 guests each year. And we are supporting hundreds of artists and are entertaining and who are entertained also by local musicians and performers. This free event is open to the public, and anybody can come and stroll the streets and enjoy our festival. And the May and June festivals cost us approximately $4,800 for all local performers and musicians and entertainers. So you may ask, who pays for all this? Well, it's our 6 restaurants, sponsors, and donations. They pay for the entertainment, we pay for the meters to close the streets, we pay for the Annapolis Police Department to come and keep our streets safe during our events, from the porta-johns to the outdoor seating, to the city permits and everything that else goes on during these nights. It's important that we continue these events to support hundreds of local musicians and artists. Our events improves the social aspects of life for residents in and around Annapolis and the West Street corridor, and the visitors who come to Annapolis. We really need support from organizations like yours to make these happen. We have a lot of people who depend on the Inner West Street Association for summer fun. This is why I'm asking for $15,000 from AIPPC. And we hope to get your support this year.
Ready. Thank you so much, Audrey. Are there any questions for Audrey from the commission? Anyone? Cynthia, thank you.
Yes, hi, Audrey, and
Yeah.
once again, thanks for helping us with the galleries.
Sure.
Just great job. I was at
Thank you.
Pitmore recently and really enjoyed that exhibit. I wanted to ask you, have you received or submitted an application to receive some funding from the Visit Annapolis in Anne Arundel County? They have very deep pockets, and I would think that they would really be very strong supporters financially of what great work you're doing.
So yeah, so they do help us out on some of the events. We do put proposals into them for their support. We don't get much at all from them. That's why we have to keep plugging along and asking for sponsorships everywhere.
Shelley.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Cynthia. I think that there doesn't really seem like you're looking that far outside of us. You know, we and the 2 organizations that Cynthia talked about are also great ones to go after. In part, my thinking about this is that even though all the work that goes into it is like really great, and I know it's a great event, but the profit, the restaurants and the organizations that are on West Street who are participating, they get a lot back from this as well. It's not like,
Well, you can, well, I mean, they get support from people who come and eat. However, I mean, do you know how many plates you have to serve a night to make a profit? I mean, restaurants are not big profit makers, you know, and this allows them to make a little bit more than they normally would because we can expand the restaurants on the street. But, you know, a regular, you know, day-to-day running of a restaurant is, profit margins are very slim. And this allows them the opportunity to grow.
okay,
Thank
thanks
you.
for the answer.
Thank you. Any other questions for Audrey? Cynthia, is your hand up again?
Yes, I was just wondering, Audrey, quickly, I'll be quick. Also, do you have vendors at your events? Do you charge the vendors to be participating?
Right. And this also helps us offset costs. I mean, our budget's over $100,000 for arts and entertainment on the street. I mean, it's quite a bit of money that we spend. And we have to pay for everything. We don't get support from the city at all.
Thank you, Audrey. Any other questions? Alrighty, Krista, you have a question? No? Okay. Alrighty, great. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry, Krista, do you have a question? Wait a minute, hang on.
No,
Krista,
I don't. I was answering you.
Okay, alrighty, thank you. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
be
you.
in touch with you soon.
Okay.
Oh, Audrey, before you
Yes.
go, the next exhibit you're putting up, isn't there a reception in June? Is that correct?
Yes,
At City Hall?
it is, I believe, June, oh, I want to say June 2nd. No,
Okay.
not June 2nd. Oh, gosh, I can't think of it now.
Okay, but
Yeah,
we'll
it'll be
post
on, it'll be on social media. We'll announce
okay,
it.
we'll post it on our social media, and then I'll also send an email to the commissioners. Barbara is not here with us tonight, and she was gonna
Yeah,
make
we
that
actually,
announcement.
we have two new exhibits being hung this Friday, actually, in both
Awesome.
locations, City Hall and Pit Moyer. So they're
Great.
going.
Thank you.
All right,
Alrighty,
thank you.
take care. Bye-bye.
Lynn, I think you're on mute. Oh,
Thank you. Let's go to Jamie from the AIDS Quilt. Thank you. I was on mute.
Okay, I have two Jamies, so I'm just gonna promote both of them. Jamie, if you're only using one device, you can just accept on one of them.
Thank you. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. I was having some troubles with audio on the other one, so I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, welcome. And this is the first time you're before the commission.
Yes.
Jamie has an exciting piece of artwork that he wants to hang for Pride Month, which is in June. And he submitted a proposal. We kind of talked back and forth, and then the email went to a number of people, so he did seek out other sources of funding. So I'll let him do the talking and tell you the story about the quilt that he wants to hang. Thank you. Go ahead, Jamie.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the time to be able to talk to you, and I'm hoping that, I'm sure many of you have heard of the National AIDS Memorial Quilt that was started 35 years ago, believe it or not, and 40 years in, AIDS continues to disproportionately affect communities of color and disadvantaged, is still happening, and it's still an active venture that is trying to get more and more of the quilt displayed throughout the country with its story and why it exists. I created a particular panel to honor a relative. I have a favorite aunt of mine who lives in Annapolis. She's 87, and her son passed away in 1993. And he was kind of dear to me, being a young gay boy at the time, who always looked out for me along with my aunt. And she mentioned one day that she had always wanted a panel done for him. So I enlisted some friends, and we started to get to work and created a panel to go into this quilt. The panel is enormous at 3 feet by 6 feet, is just my portion of the panel. Then it's combined into others, so it's a full 12-foot by 12-foot panel. So it's quite large. It makes a statement when you walk into a room and see it hanging. It's something that would hang up to be on display, along with some information about why it's there, what it's about, and that sort of thing. And it obviously talks about, tries to tell a story about my cousin and his partner, and their love of many years for each other, but also about, the tragedy of AIDS and kind of what happened in those early years, especially before there was support and therapies and different things. And so what I was hoping to do is, I thought, well, my aunt lives in Annapolis. What better place to have this displayed? She doesn't get around very easily, and I thought it'd be really nice for the community, for Pride, to do, and to have something up somewhere in one of the state houses or a city hall or somewhere displaying and really talking about this and still bringing up the prevalence, and especially during Pride Month would be would be lovely. Unfortunately, the AIDS Memorial Quilt does charge a fee because they preserve everything, they ship it, it's shipped out a certain way so that it's protected. They send all the instructions of how to send it back, but it's all included within the fee of what they do to be able to, display this quilt. And it's for me, it was a fun project. Someone who did not know how to sew before I started, I did learn a few techniques. But luckily, I had a good friend who is very good at sewing and helped us put it together and get it all done and everything. And so I was hoping coming through, and I had reached out initially to some various state representatives, and that's how I found my way to you after going through. Lynn was aware as I was going through different channels and trying to get somewhere. To figure out how could I get this displayed for her and get this somehow put out in the community, because they were Maryland residents as well. And it just so happens my cousin Bill Robinson was also involved in creating National Tap Dance Day, something I didn't know before I started doing this quilt put together, but he was somehow involved. I have the letter from a congressman somewhere in the Midwest finally giving in and appointing National Tap Dance Day, like little unknown trivia out there. So thank you.
Thank you. So are there any questions for Mr. Shepherd? Shelley?
Do you know, where do you think that you could place it? I think that's an important question because it's coming up, and I think it's I loved the image. I really respect the quilt totally. I just and what you're asking for is completely manageable in terms of fees. But have you spoken to you mentioned City Hall?
Yes. So when the entire conversation started with where could we hang it?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've talked to Roz and from the rec center, and we think that that would be an ideal place to hang it. It's large, it's very large. So City Hall would be difficult, but also it would get more exposure at the rec center. And so so that's the plan for now, that we would hang it at the rec center.
As a separate
as a separate
and would be marketed that way?
Yes.
Like as a okay, yep. Good.
David, you had your hand up.
Actually, Shelley asked my question for me. That was a question I wanted to ask. So, but she handled yours. Thank you, Shelley. I'm good. Thank you. I yield my time.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, Senator. All right. Anyone else? Questions from anyone else? Oh, wow. Okay. All righty, Mr. Shepherd. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Will deliberate at the end of this meeting. And then we will be back in touch with you.
Okay.
To let you know what the results are.
All right. And thank you for all the multiple emails I sent you.
Yeah, thank you. All righty. Take care. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Bye-bye. Okay. Madeline, we should bring forward Dallas Pace. Am I saying that right? From the Chambers Park.
We don't have any other attendees.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me check my email just to make sure. He isn't trying to get on. No, I don't see a message from him. Okay. And I did communicate with him earlier today. So I'm not sure what happened. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cynthia, go ahead.
Yes, Lynn. Okay. Apparently there has been a miscommunication because Dallas Pace did not know that he was having a physical presentation. He thought that because you had put it in the category of a special request from the chair, that he did not need to attend. So he is out of town, but he said that he would either phone in or be able to jump on if need be to physically speak with the group and present. You do remember, as far as historical perspective, that years ago, pre-pandemic, the Greater Annapolis Parole Association came to us requesting funding for their Chambers Park summer concert series. Chambers Park is a city of the park, included in the city of Annapolis. So at that time, and you can verify this with minutes, the group did agree, and by vote agree to fund their summer concert series on an annual basis. So it is in the minutes. I know you'd have to go digging, probably 2018 or 2019, not fun. But that is, he did not receive a physical link. And so he was, obviously there was miscommunication that he was required to attend. So that was what happened. And we still have time. We could try to have him jump on it if need be.
So, I'm not sure how to handle this. Mark sent him the email. He was on the email that everyone else got. So he was on the email with all the other presenters this evening. And he sent me a message this afternoon and I sent it again. So if you can get him on the phone before this meeting ends, and have him come onto the Zoom, then we can hear from him. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until next month.
And we should move on, right?
Right. Yeah. So we're going to move on.
Okay.
Alrighty. So, Cynthia, I'll let you try and communicate with him. I'm guessing you have his cell phone number. Alrighty. So I just have a couple things. First, I want to share with you the year-to-date financials. And I guess I should probably share my screen so you can all see it. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can share my screen. Just want to share this. Share. Alrighty. I'll make it bigger. I'll try to make it a little bit larger too, so you can see it. Okay. So what I did was I went back through all of our minutes for the fiscal year FY 2024 and to make sure that we had captured all of the expenditures that we had approved, because we did change leadership in the middle of the fiscal year.
Right.
And so that is, we may want to think about that the next time we have an election. But so here you will see, and I will put this in the Google Drive so everyone will have a copy of it. But here you will see that thus far we have committed to spending $139,350. And that includes the commitment to the Poet Laureate, the City Hall Expedition Coordination, the $7,500 we paid to the Westgate Circle finalists, and then the grant awards we made or we approved. The Friends of the Annapolis Symphony for $2,000. That was for the Christmas decorations. The Old Fourth Ward Unity Day, $7,500. Annapolis Jazz and Roots, $7,350. The Chesapeake Jazz Festival, $5,000. The Maryland Hall I Am a Man exhibit, $3,000. The film Adventures of Miss Peaches and Mr. Boo Boo, 8,000. The Annapolis Film Festival, 25,000. Banneker Douglas Museum, 30. The Parole Health Center, 10. And I have $30,000 here for the summer concert series because that was the number that we used after we lowered it from 50 to 30. But so far we've only spent 21,000 of that. I do have an idea of how we maybe could spend it, but I'll come to that later. The remaining $9,000, well, not all of it, but or some of the remaining $9,000. Okay, so under consideration this evening is $10,000 from Annapolis Wiki, the Inner West Street and Dining Under the Stars, 4,800. Kunta Kinte Festival, 15,000. That total is 29,800. And then the AIDS Quilt their request is $720. And Chambers Park, their request was 20,000. So for now, we'll just hold off on that. But if we approved all of them at the requested amount, including the Chambers Park, that would leave us with $74,287 to spend in May and June. Okay. So just so that I mentioned earlier that the summer concert series, we've committed to spending $21,000. I want to thank Cynthia for all the hard work she's done gathering the artists and making the list and working with Ashley Leonard to get all the contracts set up. It has been a tremendous job, and so I am thankful to her for that. So yes, Jim, you have a question.
Yes, I was a little puzzled with your numbers, but my question is, we receive a spreadsheet from the city, and in that spreadsheet, it's not on the part that we always see. It's sort of after the initial spreadsheet, which gives us sort of a summary. It breaks down the checks that we have written up to from the beginning of the fiscal year in July of 23 through this past month, actually through January, and they had a total of about 47. But I went back and I looked at the ones that we had approved, and my numbers just disagree, but I think you're fine. I'm not going to argue about that. My concern is we receive a report from the city, and I wanted to know exactly what our allocation or what our receipt of funds from the state are through the hotel tax. Exactly what is that amount?
So far we are on track to collect a little more than the city anticipated and put into the budget for this year. And so there will, if things can continue to trend the way they have in the past and over the next few months, then we will collect. They had allocated 141,000, but we will collect 155 if things continue to trend the way they have been. So we will be a little ahead of the amount that we anticipated.
So that's 155.
We're not gonna spend that money because we don't have it
I
yet.
understand
But
that.
right. But things like the film festival, which was very successful this year. contribute to the, that makes a huge contribution to the hotel tax. And we haven't seen those receipts yet. So it could even be a little more, and obviously it could be less, but the way we're trending now, we should collect $155,000 this year in hotel tax funding.
Great. The second question I have, the breakdown of numbers that we get in our report on the budget comparison for the AIPPC, it shows that we had money coming to us from prior years, excuse me, because we didn't spend our full amount of money.
That's correct. That's how we got from the 141 to 264.
Got it. Okay. That's what I really wanted to know. And so that's included in the 264.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. So the other question is, I got a different number for the amount of money that we have spent to date, because I looked at the July of last year through, actually it was January, but you've gone a little further than that.
Jim, you looked at the checks that were cut, and that's not reflective of the money that has been allocated. So
Okay.
there would
I
have been
understand.
checks cut in July and maybe even August and September of this fiscal year that were spent or were allocated or awarded to organizations in the prior fiscal year. So you can't look at the checks cut. You have to look at what we have expended. And so and those numbers were already subtracted from our total.
Okay, and as long as we could get a copy of the list of that, or that sheet that you showed us on the screen, that would be helpful.
I will put it in the Google Drive.
Okay, that's great.
All right. And we're going to go back to it because we need to do our decision making anyway. So we're going to go back to it this evening. Yes. Yes.
Because
Shelley.
it seems like I underestimated when I was talking about creating a budget. I underestimated exactly how much money we really do get, or that we have. And it seems like we have quite a bit of money to spend, both on the current proposals and probably through the end of the fiscal year.
Yes. Okay, Shelley, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if I may move to have $50,000 set aside for Westgate.
We've already made that motion in the past.
Yeah, we've had that for a while, so
Right.
that has been there for a while. Okay.
Okay, great.
Alrighty.
We also have set aside $20,000 for repair of existing art that we have supported in the past.
Okay, great.
All right. So, since there is additional funding, there's about $9,000 left in the summer concert series. I would like to bring a well followed act to City Dock, since this is our last summer at City Dock in the form that we know it. And they are a Billboard Top 100 group called Experience Unlimited, shortened to EU. They're a Washington, D.C. based go-go and funk band that enjoyed its height of popularity in the 1980s and early 90s, fronted by lead singer bassist Gregory Sugar Bear Elliott. And the group has had a fluctuating membership over the years, but they still maintain a loyal following. And some of you may not know this, but go-go music is very popular here in Annapolis. David is smiling.
I know go-go.
Yeah, so it is extremely popular in Annapolis. And Chuck Brown, who is the go-go, I guess, king, or was the go-go king, used to come to Ram's Head every year, and it was always a sold out show, probably 2 sold out shows, but it was always very popular. And so I would entertain a motion that, oh shoot, I'm gonna keep going because I need to find the email to make sure that I have the right amount. Then the next thing I have to share is that there are a number of things. Oh, Cynthia, I'm sorry, go ahead. You have a question?
Okay, to the group. We are way behind the curve as far as really promoting the summer concert series. Usually we had this completed by January or February of the year. There are many Fridays that are free. City Dock Tango is just once a month. So we have one Sunday rain date, and I really feel we should keep it open for that Sunday rain date because with the weather being so variable. But there are many Fridays, so excuse me. So I think, that'd be perfect for a Friday evening. We have to check with Felicia though. We have to check with Felicia.
You gave me some dates that worked, and I sent them to them.
Okay, well,
Yes.
okay, so are we talking Friday? Then we need to, just get everything sorted out with the paperwork with Ashley, okay?
Cynthia,
Yes.
are we off topic all of a sudden?
No, we're not off topic. We're talking about
I
the
thought
summer concert.
that we're put aside until we hear from.
Well, but
Okay.
Cynthia had a question, so she
Okay.
had a comment. So we continued on the same subject. I'm trying to find the email from the Parks and Recs, from the gentleman at Parks and Recs. So that we can, I meant to pull that up earlier. I'm sorry. Oh, here it is. Okay. Alrighty. So he said that the band fee is $6,500, plus 2,000 to plus about 2,500 for the sound and backline. David knows what that means. I don't know what that means. Whatever the backline is. What's a backline, David?
David, you're on mute.
Backline is the drum kit, speakers, amplifiers for the band usually.
Okay. Alrighty. So, and there are 5 dates that they've given us to choose from. So I would entertain a motion to add them to the summer concert series list for it looks like it would for the $9,000 that is remaining. Yes, Jim.
I just have a concern that I know that there are a lot of local musicians and bands that we're going as far away as Washington to bring in music entertainment. However, I'm sure this group will be really good and probably would be very inspiring. But the bottom line is I wish that we would be more focused on our city's music culture. And there are all the types of bands in the city that, we could use to fill this space, and probably for, a reasonable amount of money also.
Jim,
But
I
I'm
will
not,
say,
I'm not objecting. You've obviously recruited these people, so I guess we're stuck with that.
well,
situation.
they were recommended to us by the Department of Recreation and Parks, but the other thing I will say is that remember, we do an entire summer concert series, and we have now devoted $21,000 to local artists. So there will be a number, and then if we fund Dining Under the Stars and the Inner West Street, those are all local artists as well. So there's no shortage of local artists. Go ahead, Cynthia.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Dallas has been able to jump on. I believe that's what Madeline is raising her hand about.
Okay. All
So
right. Well,
Dallas, with the Greater Parole Community Association,
okay,
will
but don't
be
bring him
jumping on.
forward. Don't bring him forward yet, because we're in the middle of something else. So we'll just hold until we're ready. But so I would entertain a motion if the commission is so desires, to bring EU to the city dock this summer.
This is David.
Do they require a contract or a proposal like other
They-
groups?
No, they do not. This is a part
Okay.
of the summer concert series, so we would write a contract with them, just like we do all the other groups in the summer
Okay.
concert series. Go ahead, David.
Make a motion to bring EU as part of the summer concert series.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
Thank you, Joan. Okay, let's all in favor, say aye.
And we have to vote on this, don't we?
We do, but let's see if there's any opposition, we'll do the roll call.
Why do we have to vote?
Do we normally vote on motions?
Yes, we're voting on the motion.
Okay, you just answered my,
So,
show of hands,
I called, it's been properly moved and seconded
okay.
to bring EU to City Dock for the summer. And all those in
Okay.
favor, please say aye.
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 Is there any opposition?
Yes,
Okay.
there's
So,
not
David-
enough.
David,
No,
can
there's
you
not.
do-
But
can
yeah,
you-
I oppose. I don't
Okay.
understand. We don't have enough information and this has just come out of nowhere. And to those of us who are new, I don't understand how somebody gets by something like this without a proposal and a budget.
It's not
This-
a proposal. This would be sponsored by the Annapolis Park.
But we're giving
Right.
$9,000 separate from that.
We're not giving $9,000. We are paying them $9,000. They would be a vendor just like all of the other acts that we bring to City Dock.
So
who
then
do
why,
not
so then why are we even talking about it?
submit a proposal.
Why are we even talking about get money? to
I'm
something
giving
that-
the commission the courtesy because it is a larger amount and it is a group that we have not seen before. So I'm giving the commission a courtesy. If we
That's a
don't think it
problem.
needs if we don't think it needs a vote, then we will. But it's been moved and seconded, so we have a motion on the floor. Joan, go ahead.
My only question was more of the like procedural aspect. Should that be voted on after we deliberate
Yeah,
between all the other applicants?
No,
That-
because it is a part of the summer concert series budget, which is
but you
already
just
allocated.
brought it up right now, though. That's what I don't understand. Why wouldn't we?
We talked
have been
about it
informed
in
about
a previous meeting, Shelley. We did talk
I don't
about it.
like one previous meeting, and how come it's not in the minutes,
Okay.
or how come we don't have a record of that?
The motion is on the floor. It has been properly moved and seconded. Cynthia, do you have a question?
I just want to correct the record. Some people were throwing around the 9,000. No, this group would be paid 1,000, just like the other groups that are
Oh.
being paid. So
That's
this
why-
is a
No, that's why
1,000.
we're-
Yeah,
That's why
Yeah,
we're
it
voting
was-
on it. That's why
right,
we're
there was-
voting on it. They wouldn't be paid $1,000. They will not come for $1,000. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, well,
the
that's
commission-
way over the top. We've never paid anybody $9,000. It's
Well-
$1,000 for 20
Now, this
band
is-
orchestras, and
This is really improper.
this is $9,000
Okay,
for one
It,
group.
it has been properly moved and seconded. Let's do a roll call vote, and if it does not pass, then we.
All the other groups are being paid 1,000, and some of them
Cynthia,
are
you are out of
20-member
order.
Man,
bands.
we have a right to
professionals.
discuss the motion.
Jim,
They
you're
are
out of order.
professionals,
Jim,
and they are
everyone
being
go
paid
over.
1,000.
Please,
We
please.
spending
please.
$9,000 on
Cynthia,
one event?
Cynthia,
event?
please, you're out
Thank
of
you,
order.
Cynthia.
You're out of order. It has been properly moved and seconded. Let's do the roll call vote, and everyone can vote on whether, because it has been moved and seconded. So there is a motion on the floor.
Lynn,
Yes,
Lynn,
Krista?
this is Krista. Can I make a comment at all?
Sure.
This is Krista. Okay. So I love the idea of having a knockout band at the end of the season to kick off, the end, right? Until we have to wait a while before the city dock comes back, into view again after the construction and everything. To Cynthia's point, the question that I had while everyone was discussing was the same. In other words, we have a certain stipend that we pay each band, and Cynthia did bring this up. So if we're going to take a vote, I just want to be clear that the stipend, Cynthia, you said everybody else is only getting 1,000. Is that right? And then Lynn, am I correct to make sure I understand it, that if we were to get this band, the fee would be 9,000? Is that correct? Am I correct? I just want to know what I'm voting for, yes or no.
Yes, that is correct, Krista. That is correct.
Okay, so it would cost us 9,000, even though all the other bands are only 1,000.
That is correct.
So, okay, so I don't know if it's okay for me to add this comment or not. If it's not, you can strike it from the record. But in my opinion, I think this does need to be a separate consideration because it's so much more money. That's not to say that, you know, in the long run, I wouldn't say yes to it, but at this time I'm concerned because it's just all of a sudden thrown out there. So that's just my, you know, if it was only going to be 1,000 for this band and we were going to add them in, great. But I do have concerns just like Cynthia does as well. So I'm on the fence here. So
Okay.
just to add that to the group. Okay, thanks for hearing me.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you.
Lynn,
Can I take the vote? I'm going to call for the question.
Lynn, we have the right
can
to
call for the-
discuss we have the right to discuss the issue before the commission, before we vote.
You
on
have
it.
did you make a comment? Did you make a comment earlier on this?
I have another comment to make, and
Okay,
we
well-
should be allowed to debate this a little bit longer, just simply because
Why?
we have issues with it.
Okay.
I
go
think
ahead.
it's improper for us to this issue to be brought to us without having some prior
Okay.
knowledge of it.
Then vote against it. If you think it's improper, then vote against it.
Well, that's really putting a lot of people in a really awkward position. And as chair, you shouldn't be doing this. You should not be doing this. It's improper.
Okay.
It's out of
I
order.
think I followed all of the Robert's Rules of Order. I did not make a motion myself. I called.
No,
for-
you've tried to close off debate and discussion.
and we can close off debate after a certain amount of time. I'm calling for the question. So there's a question on the floor.
Joan has her hand up.
Joan, go ahead. Oh. Go ahead, Joan. No,
Joan, you're on mute.
no. Okay. You
No,
want to
okay.
talk? No. Okay. All right. So, David, can you please call the roll?
Ooh, hold on. Lynn,
Aye.
David, aye. Krista. Krista, can you hear me?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm just really on the fence on this. I guess I'm gonna abstain right now. Yeah, I'm gonna abstain right now.
You are aware the abstaining rule basically means it's a no, correct?
Correct.
Krista?
Yeah, I'm abstaining, so I guess that's a no, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Barbara's not here. Joan?
I think I need to abstain too, after further thought.
Cynthia?
No.
Shelley?
No,
Who am I missing
Jim.
here?
You're missing Jim.
Jim?
Well, I would abstain, but I think I really want to vote no. So I'll just vote no because I think it's been improperly presented to the commission and we've been railroaded into looking at this. I think we needed to have some pre-information about it. But I also think it is a bit much to bring a band from outside BC. I know it's, the recommendation of the Rec and Parks Department, but I just don't think we've had any time to consider this. So I think no is my vote for now.
Thank
Just
you.
if
Thank
I'm
you.
allowed
So
to, just a comment on that, and that, it would be kind of cool to have the top of the concert series to have a well-known band, whether it be $9,000 or $4,000 or $1,000, but it'd be kind of cool to end the summer series, to get some popularity and get some promotion for what's going on as well. Just throwing that out there. That's sort of my vote, why I voted yes, because I think it'd be cool to kind of have EU wouldn't be my favorite band to pick, but they would be a good band to bring along because they bring a large group with them as well. They're very popular.
Interesting. Okay.
And
Thank you,
David, I
David.
agree with you on that. If we're discussing with regards to your vote, and Jim and Cynthia and the others that are there as well, I agree with you that it would be fantastic to have a headliner at the end. I just feel like this is kind of thrown at us without doing any actual proposal on it, and that it doesn't fall into sync with what Cynthia's been doing because all the others are $1,000. So I feel like maybe we need to give this some more thought, and maybe try to propose it again differently. Maybe, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, but.
Yeah, well, the
Yeah, I
motion,
think that the vote has happened and I think we should move on.
yeah, the motion failed, so we can move
The
on.
motion failed, right? So I'm not sure why we're still talking.
We can always
Uh,
reconsider.
Cynthia, do you have something that you need
I
to
just
add
want to
to
add
that?
that, okay, if Rosalind Johnson has suggested this group, and it's a popular group. The Parks and Rec department has a very large budget, and they could use their money, and they could sponsor their own Parks and Rec event, perhaps at Pitt Moyer. But I do want to say, if anyone has looked at the schedule, Jim did a very nice and professional job of printing up the schedule. The end of season Big Bash is the Cars Beach Musical Memories, and it's going to be fabulous. So we do have local groups, Cars Beach Hand Dancers, and all the folks who used to play at Cars Beach and are still around are going to be there. So yeah, we are going
Cynthia,
out
I'm
with
sorry.
a big show.
I'm sorry, Cynthia, you cannot say that all the people that used to play at Cars Beach and are still around are going to be at the concert, because that is
Well,
not
there are
true.
very few of them.
But that's not true, Cynthia. It's
No,
not true.
we're,
It's
if
not,
they,
it's not true
if
that
they
those
are,
big
we
the big
want
name
them.
acts, that those
We
big
want
name
them to
acts,
play.
I
We're
move
going to
that
try
we
to get
move
them.
on.
I'm sorry, but those big name acts that came to Cars Beach that all had,
No, I'm talking
I mean,
about the
Smokey
locals.
Robinson
The
is not
locals.
coming to the summer concert series.
I realize that, Glenn. Okay, but we have some local folks, and it's going to be a nice show for the end of the season in September.
Okay.
And I think we'll definitely go out with a bang. So I do
Okay.
realize that a lot of those big names are no longer with us. May they
They
rest
are,
in peace.
some of them are no longer with us, but some of them are. So to say that all of the big names that used to perform at Cars Beach,
No, I
that are
didn't.
still
You're
with us-
misinterpreting what I
You're
said.
interrupting me. You're interrupting me.
You misinterpreted what I said.
I
was
didn't
just-
misinterpret it. I heard it.
Lynn, you
said-
need to back off, really. This needs to calm
Jim,
down.
you are out of order.
I have my hand up. And
You
you really have.
you're out of order. To say to the public in a recorded document that we are going to have the acts that used to perform at Cars Beach who are still around to perform would be misinformation, because that is not true. So we are going to put together a concert of local artists.
No way I'm going to be able to get my.
Shelley, you're not on mute.
No, okay. I'm
Um,
just saying, I think we need to move on. We have a lot to do here tonight. And I think this is becoming personal. I would really, there's a lot of people that need to speak tonight.
Second.
So I just want to make sure that we don't put that kind of information out, because that is not true. Alrighty. The next piece of my chair's report is that one of the things that came, so I want to thank everyone for coming, so many of you for coming to the training that the city put on for boards and commissions. It was a good day. We all learned a lot. We learned a lot about the nature of our board. And we also learned that there's still a lot more to learn. That's one of the things we did realize. So I would like to schedule a work session for the commission that would include a presentation from the Office of Law and from the Boards and Commissions coordinator. And we would also use that time to discuss the adoption of our bylaws that Jim has so patiently developed. But we all need to review them and we will need time to go through them to adopt them. The scope of work and the planning for the Westgate Circle project. And also, some of the commissioners have asked that we review our current grant award schedule. So if I would like to schedule a work session to do that. Now, we could do that as a part of our June meeting. As our June meeting. We could do that as our June meeting. I would ask that we start earlier. This would be in person so that we can make changes, see it on the screen, all of that for the scope of work as well as for the bylaws. And so if we did it as a part of our June meeting, then the June meeting would start at 5:30 or 6 instead of starting at 7, so that we would have at least 3 hours to work. So that I guess I would entertain a motion to have our June meeting be a work session. Jim?
Well, first of all, I would second that motion.
I didn't make a motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion because I do believe that we need to meet together, and hopefully Krista and others and Barbara who have difficulty getting here will be able to work it out on that one day. My second question is, yes, I did propose some things to you, Lynn. I don't think the other board members have seen them. Can they be put in a Dropbox or in the Google Drive so that people can have a chance to read them before the session? Because it's frustrating when you get it at the last minute, and you can see how that hurts the effort to get it. And also because we need criticism of what we're actually proposing. So
we're only going to do that in our meeting. The criticism of what we're proposing.
I know that'll be in the meeting, but I think what we want to do is we want to have an opportunity to read and see it and think about it before the meeting, so that when we go to the meeting, we're prepared to talk about it.
Yes.
Just to throw it on us when we walk in the door is not a good idea.
Okay.
And is unfair to the
This is
commissioners.
Krista. This is Krista, and I'm sure this is a need and very important and everything, but I can't vouch for Barbara. Barbara would have to, represent herself, but I can vouch for myself to state that I'm in an extremely busy time of the year work-wise, so I don't know that I would be able to be at that meeting and be there early. Would probably not be an option. I know that we do have one of the summer months off, I believe. I don't know if you want to put it off that long, or if maybe Barbara
that month
could get in touch with her to see if that would be an option too.
Okay, that month is August, and I'll be on vacation a good part of that month. So we couldn't do it then. And here's what I'm going to say. It would be unfortunate if people could not make it. I absolutely understand work, our regular full-time jobs being, of course, our priority, and also being very busy. I work for the Department of Transportation in Maryland. We had the biggest catastrophe we've ever had in the state. And so I understand that work comes first, and there are a lot of pressures on us. But I would hope that people would make the commitment, make a sacrifice to get this work done, because it is important. Yes, Jim.
I just wanted to point out the Arts District has board meetings monthly, and occasionally members can't physically be at the meeting, but we arrange a Zoom link for them so that they can at least hear the conversation, and if they want to put in their 2 cents, they get a chance. And that's done with a laptop computer. So maybe, by that time we could figure out how to make that accommodation to Barbara and to Chris if they need it, or whoever else might need it.
Jim, unfortunately, the city does not have the capability to have a public meeting that is hybrid.
No, this is for
It is a public,
for those people to participate in the conversation of a work session.
Jim, you're not listening to me. The city does not have the capacity, the capability of having a hybrid public meeting unless it is held in city council chambers. And if we held it in city council chambers, then we'd have to schedule it when the council chambers is available.
I'm not suggesting that this is a
So-
public meeting.
It is a public meeting. All of our meetings are public.
Okay, well, and then, but how, are we gonna pay somebody to take minutes?
What are you talking about, Jim?
Public meetings need to be recorded.
I'm sorry, what are you talking about? Public meetings don't need to be recorded.
Well,
Public,
otherwise,
don't-
it's not a public meeting. If
it
there's
is
no
a public
record-
meeting. We will invite the public. It's a public meeting.
All right, I'm just saying that you could have,
Then why are you arguing with me about everything?
I'm not arguing with you
You
about
are.
everything. I'm just suggesting there's an alternative way that these people could
But
participate.
we don't have
and
that.
we ought
We
to
don't
make an
have that
accommodation.
capacity. We do not have that capacity as a city.
We don't need the IT department to do it. We can use a
my
laptop and
goodness.
they can dial in and talk to us. And it's the same as if somebody walked in, one of us walked into the room and sat down. It's no different because it's not this formal event.
Lynn, this is, I really feel this is important to say this. Our time is going by.
I know.
We're having
And I'm
personal
trying to,
conversations.
and I am trying,
Can
I
we
am trying to
stop?
make a report. So if, are we gonna do a work session or not?
Yes.
Well, maybe this is not the best time to talk about it. I mean, maybe we need to wait.
Well,
until-
we need to.
Well, I move that we have
need
the
to
work
prepare-
session.
I move that we have,
Second.
I second that we have a work session.
Okay,
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Is there any, are there any no's? Thank you. Okay. Alrighty. So now we need to make our award decisions. And we have before us this evening,
Dallas Pace is here to present.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry. I forgot about Dallas Pace. Go ahead, Mr. Pace. Madeline, can you bring him forward, please?
Yep. Dallas, if you see a prompt on your screen asking you to come on as a panelist, if you accept it, you'll be able to turn your audio and video. There we go.
Can you folks hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Yes. I'll make it brief. My name is Dallas Pace. I live in Ward 3. We have. So first of all, I'm part of GPCA. That is the Greater Parole Community Association. And wow, I guess for a decade we've been doing what we call the summer concert series held in Chambers Park, which is a state park. And over the last 3 years, I was effectively, the point person for organizing the summer concert series. I would get all local talent from the state of Maryland. Some were in Ward 3, but most of them were outside of Ward 3. It has been difficult, being honest, since COVID to actually get a commitment to get enough funding to actually hold the event. Last year, I think about 3 or 4 of us bootstrapped the whole thing. We had about 4 events. It cost, between $1,500 and $2,000 per event. And in the past, what we've done is we've normally done at least 10 events. So what I'm proposing is for the art committee to commit to $20,000 so that we can have the summer concert series this year. Again, I'm fully willing to compromise. In other words, if you say, hey, look, Mr. Pace, I can only give you 10,000, then what I would most likely do is cut back the number of concerts I would cut it in half. So I'm just looking for help. It's a great cause. We are going to try this year something different. We're going to actually try to do, I want to say, Latin African music to try to get more of the Latino, Hispanic, members of Ward 3 out. It's something that I think is only fair. It's been pretty much African American driven, but I think with the emergence of our community, and there's just so much talent there that I want to really make this a melting pot event for us this summer. So that's pretty much what I have to ask, or what I'm basically proposing. If you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pace. Are there any questions for Mr. Pace on the Chambers Park Summer Concert Series? David.
Hey, Dallas, how you doing? This is David Arthur. How you doing, man?
Oh, it's great to see you, David. That's wonderful. Yes, sir. You got a question for me, sir?
Yes, sir, I do. When do you plan on starting your concerts? What's the goal?
So right now I have the first one tentative in the first week of June. I filled out the form and I sent it to your committee. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember the exact date, but I think the first event was going to be, again, we're trying to do two per month. And I think my first one was probably the first Friday, because we always do them on Friday, the first Friday in June. So there's 2 per month, and I think we end up in October. But if you need, I can probably drill down in my email and find that form if necessary.
Yeah, I'll look through that as well. Just double check that. But thank you.
Okay. All right, very good. It's in the, David, it's in the Google Drive. Jim.
I'm just excited that we're sponsoring an event that's not at the city dock or on West Street. It's broadening our base, and I think it's a really good idea to encourage the communities outside of the downtown to have their events, and we're lucky to have them. And I think it'll be a really good deal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Joan, do you have a
Hey,
question?
Dallas, Joan Brady here. Just a question, how many viewers do you intend, or do you have any data on how many people you expect to attend this event or these events over the summer?
So that is somewhat fluid. I think at our peak, we probably had 150 come out into the park. I know one event I did about 2 years ago, and I apologize, I'm outside. I did an event about 2 years ago. I think we had 200. So I'm going to say it averages between 100 and 200 people. And the point of this is we make it free. And as the gentleman mentioned, he's right. So many of the musical events in Annapolis always seem to happen downtown at the dock. And, you know, for years, we felt like we've just been underserved. And, you know, again, these are people who are rooted like myself. I grew up in Annapolis. I grew up in this area. My parents, my God, they taught at the All Black Bates High School. So everybody who's all of the members in the GPCA are pretty much rooted in Annapolis. So I think if we can get the Latino with the African American and Latino music out there, I suspect that would swell easily over 300.
Thank you, Mr. Pace. It sounds wonderful. I do have one quick question. So it is a city park. Do Park and Recs provide support to you with the chairs and that?
So the way that works is we have to get a permit from the city, and we have to have insurance. This is also part of the fee. This is why I'm asking for the money. Now we provide the porta potties, we provide the security, and the chairs. Those may seem strange. People bring their own chairs. We do have some chairs out there, but it's like it's kind of like a going out into the park event, and so most people basically bring their chairs. So it's kind of 50-50. We tend to put, and I'm trying to remember the count. I'm going to say we put about 20 or 30 chairs right up front for some of the elderly people, the older people, so that they can sit there and they can get a bird's eye view of the stage. But for the most part, people bring their own chairs.
Okay, thank you for that. That's great. I've only passed by those concerts. I've never actually attended one. I've intended to attend them, but I haven't. Joan, go ahead. You have another question.
Oh, sorry, just one more question about accessibility. I don't know if I've been to the park or not. Yeah, what kind of accessibility do you have to your venue or to your concert?
So it's it's in Ward 3. So the main entrance to the park is actually Dorsey Avenue. That's right off West Street. However, if you enter the community, you've got a couple access points. Hicks Avenue. You could actually come in. Oh Lord, geez, I guess that goes all the way out to Forest Drive. So I'm gonna say there's at least 3 or 4 points of access. There's a church right on the corner. A lot of people park in the church, so we have plenty parking around the in the community.
So I guess my more specific question is like for wheelchairs or people with disabilities.
It is
all flat,
wheelchair accessible.
Okay.
It's all flat, Joan. It's
Thank
a
you.
city.
I
It's a
appreciate it.
city-owned park, and it's if you turn off West Street, Hicks Avenue and make that first right, it's down that little street, you'll see it. We can ride over there anytime as a group if you guys want to see what it's like. In Dallas, that's where the Breonna Taylor mural is, correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am. That's
Okay.
another point.
Okay.
I didn't want to try to smooth here, but that's correct. It's one of the only, in my opinion, it's one of the only African American landmarks, and that's my opinion, of a mural in the entire state. Now you'll see different paintings. I know they did a really great job down on West Street. I forgot the liquor store. They put some murals there, and there's one on Chickapin Round Road of some of the cab drivers, different people who participated. But I like to say we have the mural on the park floor.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that there are a lot of people who would say the John Lewis mural and the Pearl Bailey mural.
Yes, I know.
And the
I
Thurgood
know.
Marshall mural, all of those are the murals. So
Yes,
we won't get
ma'am.
into that tonight, but yes, the Breonna
Yes,
Taylor
ma'am.
mural is there at Chambers Park. So, okay. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions for Mr. Pace? Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Pace, for, I'm sorry that there was confusion.
No
Please
confusion.
accept our apologies.
No, I thought there was, and I had double checked, but you know what? It always works out at the end. So I really appreciate you giving me the time to present the information. I really I'm hoping and praying that you guys can get behind this. It's a really great event. It's meaningful to our community. It really, especially in some of the times we're seeing right now with all the different things going on in our world, this is a blessing for the people in our community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay. Have a nice evening. Alrighty, commissioners, now we have before us five groups, 5 proposals to consider. And I will bring my screen back up again so that we can I'll share my screen again so that you can see what is what we have proposed. Oh, I just realized I didn't show the Kunta Kinte video. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second, and then I'm gonna share a different screen so that we can see that.
I wish I could sing. I would sing a song while we're waiting.
Okay. All righty. Here we go.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the sound here.
It gives everyone exposure to success. It's about our past, it's about our heritage, it's about our culture, it's about our education, it's about our people. It's being together, coming together as one, demonstrating everything.
I love it because history brings history to not just us as Black people, but to everyone. Us some of them come together, turn their faces, which is such a
I think the name of that, I think, makes it a lot more. It's more realistic to express itself in the festival. I mean, it allows you to kind of create your own environment. Make downtown a sort of, you know, a certain amount of safe space you can work with. And then issue space.
What's going on?
To honor the heritage, the struggle, the tribulation, and the triumphs that our ancestors endured.
In here.
Lynn, we have no idea what they're saying. Are you aware of that?
There's no audio.
There's no audio. We've been sitting here.
It's all
without-
garbled and very,
Well, I wish I had known that before.
well, I
Okay.
tried signaling it.
I did too.
Yeah, okay.
All right, but
Okay,
it's a great,
I'm sorry that
we
you
need
couldn't
great
hear.
program.
I'm sorry that you couldn't hear it. I don't know what the challenge was. I shared my screen.
You share the
not sure.
sound, Lynn?
Did you get it?
I thought I did.
David, did you hear it?
I didn't hear anything. I heard garble.
Hey, Joan? did you
Oh,
hear
it was
anything?
garbled. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not like, just Jim and I. It's all of us. We didn't hear anything.
Okay.
And
Um,
we don't really have time to go on again.
right. So I will share the video with all of you. I'll put it in the Google Drive so that you'll have it. Or I'll have to send it in an email because he just sent me a link to the I can't download the file. Okay. But we're all familiar with the Kunta Kinte Festival. It's happened in Annapolis for many, many, many years. So I don't think that if you have questions, I think we can entertain them. Obviously, David will recuse himself from the conversation, but if you have questions for David about the festival, please feel free to ask him. I think we can do that. Okay, there are no questions. All right.
Lynn, you're on mute.
This evening, we have 5 proposals that are before us for award. The first one, yes, Madeline.
Sorry to interrupt. We do have someone else in the attendee list who I don't have on my list. His name is Peter Nesbitt. Do you know if
Oh,
he's
no. No, he's not. Yeah.
okay?
He should
That's
not be
Shelley.
admitted. He
Yeah,
should not be
he's
admitted.
my husband, but he's not here. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Madeline, for checking. Okay. The first group we heard from was the Annapolis Wiki. Their request was $10,000. I will entertain a motion.
So move.
What are you moving?
I'm moving that we grant them the money that they requested.
How much? Oh, that they requested. the full
$10,000.
Okay,
I
full
second it.
Okay. Alrighty. All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, who was the second? I'm sorry. I missed that. Who was the second?
Cynthia.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any no's?
Yes, no.
Okay. Can we take the roll call, please, David?
I gotta go back to that piece of paper. Hold on a second.
Oh, Joan, you have your hand up. I'm sorry.
Am I just misunderstanding? Were we supposed to talk about it, or we already did talk about it earlier?
Well, they gave their presentation, so if you have a question or you want to make a comment, then yes. Now is the time to do that.
I thought, because for me, my decision making is going to be based on the total amount of money and where I feel that it's best appropriated, or like, so I don't know how, if we just go in order, if I already say yes to this, and then I don't know, I have to maybe think of, yeah.
It's
Hi,
about
this is Krista.
$60,000 total.
I just want to add that this is Krista. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Can
Yes,
you
we
hear
hear
me?
you.
Okay. I just want to add that. I just want to add that if you are opposed to the 10,000, in the past, it's been customary that if you didn't want to say aye to the 10,000, that during discussion, a different amount could be presented. So then you would make a motion to approve 8,000 or say 5,000 instead of the 10,000. So I just want to put that out there as an example for a couple of the new folks that were there. And yes, we should have discussion, or we could, not should, but we could have discussion before we actually go to vote. But you have to, put that initiation in to say, before we vote, I'd like to have a discussion. I think that's how we do it, right?
Yeah. So there is a motion on the floor, but if we want to have discussion about all of the proposals, and I'll review what we have. Annapolis Wiki, 10,000, Inner West Street, 4,800. The Kunta Kinte Festival, the request was 15,000. The AIDS Quilt, $7,720. And then Chambers Park, 20,000. If we approve all of those at the currently, at the amount of their request, I'm sorry, then and we add that to the amount of that we have already obligated this year, that takes us to $189,870, leaving us $74,287, which would be left over. And so, okay. Madeline, you have your hand up still, or was that from before?
Sorry, that was an accident.
Okay, all right. So if
Lynn, this is Krista. That amount that you just gave, is that still safeguarding and not touching the Westgate Circle and any other monies that we're trying to not touch, like for conservation type reasons? Is that correct?
Yeah, that money would be included in that 74,000.
It would be included in that.
Mm-hmm.
So then we would be actually over. We'd be over our amount then, correct?
No, we would not be over our amount.
We'd only have like $24,000 left.
We'd only have about 20,000.
Okay. And
So,
then
but-
I do have a question about the
can I just answer? Can I just okay, thank you. Remember, we may not spend the whole 50,000 in this year, so we could allocate part of the 50,000 and another part of the 50,000 for next year. We wouldn't be without the funds. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Because if we're not
regarding
going to consider the work plan until our June work session, then we would not spend that money until next fiscal year. So we would go into next fiscal year with the 50,000. Go ahead.
Can you
Go ahead.
remind me again how much money is with the Inner West group that does the Dinner Under the Stars? How
Good
much is
question.
it again that they want?
4,800.
What about the First Sunday Arts
4,800.
Festival request?
Oh, yeah.
Do we know which? I still have the floor for just a quick minute. I'll make it real quick.
Thank you,
The
Kristen.
$4,000 that they need, did they specify exactly what that was going to be for?
Yes,
They didn't, right? It's sort of in general, right?
I believe that they did. They said it would be to pay local artists.
Okay. So like,
it's
is it going to
music.
be for the ballet, or it's going to be for something that is actually, arts related, like paying for a band or paying for some sort of entertainment or the ballet or whatever might be there? Okay, that's what I wanted to specify, because I didn't want to be paying for the meters, to be honest.
Lynn, may I answer that question? They fund musicians. They bring musicians from the
Okay.
community in to perform. And that's part of
Well,
what that
right.
money
I know they have a lot of expenses, and I totally get that, and I love what they're doing. But again, I think we just have to be responsible with our money to make sure that our money is allocated to actually pay for the artists. That's all. But I want to support that project. Okay, good. I think that's it for now.
Thank
Did
you.
we also get a proposal from them for the First Sunday Arts Festival? Because that would have brought up their total to, I can't see my numbers, but I think it was 12,
Do I have this number wrong? Okay, I mean,
15,225.
oh, it's
for both of them.
15,225. Okay, 15,225. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Okay,
thought that it was
There are
15,000, and that's
two
what made me want.
proposals.
Mhm.
Two proposals.
Okay,
Okay.
so there's two proposals. Okay.
So
Yeah, but
one
they combined
separate
it.
one for the Inner West Street and one for
One's for $10,425. That's for
And 480 something.
okay, so it's $15,225 total.
Mhm.
But all of that money is going to go towards artists, not towards facilities and other upkeep.
No,
Is that correct?
it's all for artists, and we can make sure of that when we do the grant agreement, when we send them the letter
Okay.
awarding the money with that
Okay.
it's only to be used for those purposes.
Allocated for that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's what we want to do. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we have the motion on the floor for Annapolis Wiki for 10,000. Do we want to vote that motion down for now and then come back to it after we had more discussion about all of them? Joan?
Yes, I would like to vote that down for now.
Okay, so David, can you do the roll call?
Lynn,
No.
David, no. Krissa,
No.
Barbara's out. Joan,
No.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Shelley. Couldn't hear you, Shelley.
No.
Jim,
We're talking about Joan's motion, is that correct?
so your motion to fund Wiki for $10,000.
Okay, well, I'll say yes.
Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's, 2 yeses. Motion fails.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're
Alrighty.
done with them, is that correct?
No, we're not done with that. No, we're not done with it. No, we're
What
not.
happens now?
So we're gonna have a discussion about all of them together so that we can make a decision.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay. Alrighty, so the Kunta Kinte Festival is 15,000. The AIDS quilt is $720, and then Chambers Park for 20,000. I'll open the floor for discussion. That's what I'll say. But everyone don't talk at once. And if you okay, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the quilt is only for $750. Is that correct?
$720.
720. Okay, good. All right. Thank you.
Alrighty. Is there any more discussion? Are there any more questions? Are there any more comments? Now here's what I'll say. if we could just consider everything except the Kunta Kinte Festival and Dining Under the Stars so that David can participate in the discussion. Because if we're considering them all at one point, David could not participate in the Dining Under the Stars because his band, a band that he plays in, performs during Dining Under the Stars. And then obviously we saw him in the Kunta Kinte video. So we know that he has a connection to that group. So can we just focus right now on the wiki, the AIDS quilt, and the Chambers Park, and with the consideration that we have this other $30,000 out there? So go ahead, Joan.
My concern about the wiki for the 10,000 is that it almost feels like a personal project to the applicant. And I love the idea of it, but I'm wondering how the rest of the community can engage in it. And that's my concern about the $10,000. I feel like it'll just go into a hole and it'll be quietly worked on. And if anybody can clarify, maybe I don't understand the project that well, but I think 10 is too high considering there are some other really good purposes. But I'd be willing to say, oh, I'd vote on less than that, approve less than that.
Okay, or make a motion.
I'd like to jump in and just add
Jessica.
to that. I'd like to, just real quickly about discussion, and that is that I do feel that we do a lot of money towards music and other arts, murals and things like that. And I think when people are working on film, this is documentary, so videography, documentary, that sort of thing. I think that it's really great when we are able to give some money for that. So I would be willing to say yay to, or yes to, like maybe 5,000 to 7,000 or 8,000, depending on what people are comfortable with giving some money towards, because I do want to support film in Annapolis and documentaries in Annapolis. Depending on what y'all think, that's just some added information there with regards to supporting documentary and filmmaking.
Okay, Jim.
I think it's really important. Writing is a creative medium, and we're encouraging and inspiring people to write their stories, whatever their story might be about. And many times these source materials become plays, or they lead to other kinds of performance activity. So I just feel that we do focus mostly on music and dance and whatever, and that's not the only art form, and murals and sculpture. This is an art, writing is an art form in itself, and I think we need to respect that. And I really wish that, I hope that we can fund this, even if it's in some different denomination, but I would support the whole thing because we have the money to spend for it. And it's a worthy effort and a good statement for this commission to look beyond, the things that you touch or feel, but this is something that you think about, and it's something that can inspire you in one way or another. And it's also building a culture of thinking and reading. So I think that's what we desperately need.
Thank you, David.
I agree with both Jim and Chris. I think it's a worthwhile art form. I guess my only concern is that there's really no way to, they don't have any analytics to know how many people are visiting, if it's actually, being productive, if it's doing what it intended to do, which is, I guess, because of the platform that they're hosting on, you don't get the chance to do that, which is unfortunate. And I also noticed they only have like $500 worth of money in their budget for marketing. And I think, something like this, because it's a wiki page, which most people go to Wikipedia. They won't go to a specialized, customized wiki page. And you definitely need to kind of get eyeballs on that, to kind of draw attention to yourself. So it would be nice if they had more money in their budget for marketing, since it's kind of a very unique niche kind of a web experience. But that's just my only caveat with this whole conversation. I do like the idea, though. I mean, it's a different art form to project yourself in a wiki page and collect a lot of historical knowledge in a very short burst, which is kind of great because we don't have a long attention span, especially on the internet. But I think that's a good idea. So just want to throw that out there. Thanks.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, everyone, for all the additional thoughts and input. I thank you so much for that. What if is it possible to ask them to, if we award them with, let's say, the full amount, is it possible to have them, require them to put some of it toward marketing? Because that is my concern as well, is that it's wonderful that it's here, but if no one sees it, it doesn't exist. The tree falls in the forest.
It's a good point.
I mean, good, but then, I mean, yeah, I mean, we could. I don't see why we couldn't. So yeah, we could tell them that.
How long is the project? This is Krista. How long is the project like set up for? Like, what are they projecting that they'll be, kind of up and running with it, as as far as down the road? Because we could give them a certain amount of money now, and then I think it's like a year they have to wait, and then they could come back in again, and we could give them a certain amount of money later after a year, right?
Right. We could. They wouldn't have to wait a year. They just have to wait until the next fiscal year to make a request.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we could give maybe half of the money now, which would be $5,000, and then they could come back again, and then we could give them another $5,000 then in the future, perhaps.
Okay.
Maybe they can give us a
Krista,
status
is that
report. Sorry.
I'm sorry, David. What'd you say?
So maybe they can give us some status about how the site's going if they got any information.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in good
Okay.
faith, we could give them the half now, and then they could come back again, give us a status. Exactly, David. That's kind of what I'm thinking, unless someone wants to give a little more or a little less. Someone else can put a motion out if you want, but that's kind of what my trailing thought is here on this. To be
Krista, is
supportive
that
of
a
it.
motion?
And sure, I can make a motion. Yep. I make a motion to kick them off with
amend the main
$5,000.
motion.
No, we already
Yes.
voted that motion down, Jim. Please stop. Please, you are out of order.
Make a motion. I make a motion to give the Wiki group that presented tonight $5,000 from our budget to get them started.
Is there a second?
Second.
That's where we are.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any noes? Thank you.
No.
Motion carries.
No, I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
No,
is
it
that
doesn't
a
make
no?
any sense
Okay.
to me. I think we already decided it didn't seem relevant. And we haven't seen enough, so I don't know why we would give them money. So that
Okay,
doesn't-
so your vote is no.
Yes, my vote is no.
Okay, David, can you do the roll call, please? You're on mute.
I know.
Oh.
I just had to get to my page. Got a lot of notes going on here. Lynn,
Yeah. Yes. Aye. I'm sorry.
David, aye. Krissa,
Aye.
Barbara, aye. Joan,
Aye.
Cynthia,
Aye.
Shelley,
No.
Jim,
Aye.
motion passes.
Yeah, motion carries.
I
Okay,
would
5,000
also, can I please say something? What time is it right now, Lynn?
It's 9:00.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we put the rest of this meeting aside for tomorrow night.
We can't do that.
Well, there's way too much to go through, and I have a presentation that's very important.
I understand, but we can't.
No. Why can't we do that?
Because we have to give the public notice.
Okay, well, we can do it.
Okay.
Okay, you
No,
can.
we can't. We can't do it tomorrow.
So
we
we're
have
just
to-
gonna keep going
we're
on
gonna keep
until like
going.
midnight if need
No, we're
be.
not going to go till midnight, but we're going to
Okay,
keep going.
but do you understand that at the rate that we're going, we are we're not even halfway through the meeting.
We are more
To
than
your
half.
point, I'd like to make a motion. To your point, I'd like to make a motion to pass
Yes.
the quilt as is for the amount that the quilt needs for the presentation tonight.
I
Okay,
second.
Krista, so can you, the request was for $720? Is that,
Yes.
That's what I
Okay.
said. And I was making a motion about not prolonging this meeting, but finding a way to like continue it in a way that we can all like step back. Because I think things are getting a little like way overloaded in terms of our like personal feelings, and it just doesn't make sense to me that we continue unless we're going to go way, you know, I don't
well, the
know.
longer you talk about it, the longer it's
Oh,
gonna
Lynn,
feel like-
oh, please. You've said so many things that are irrelevant to this meeting. So
Look, I hear you guys, but I think we can go through a few of these that we can pass before 9:20 or 9:30.
Well, there are
for
other things
example, the quilt.
yes, yeah, but
The quilt we can pass.
no,
Kelly, you're out of order.
No,
You're out
I
of
am
order.
not out of order.
God.
That
You
is
are out of order. You
No,
have not been recognized by
No.
the chair. You are
Okay.
out of order.
No, I am not out of order because that is the interest that that Cynthia has or Krista has, and I have another interest. We all have
But
interests.
Krista wants to make a motion. Will you allow her to make a motion?
I tried to make a motion. And it didn't happen.
Well, because Krista had the floor.
Oh, no, I had the floor. That's bullshit.
Okay, Shelley, go ahead.
Sorry.
It's not. Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, really?
Kelly, can you bear with us right now and see if we can get this quilt passed?
It's Shelley.
And then we can discuss about it.
Yeah, but see, but the thing is
We can
that
discuss-
is exactly what you care about, and we all have things that we care about, and time is running out.
Okay.
My name is Shelley, by the way, not Kelly.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought it was Kelly. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Shelley.
no-
I'm
no
very sorry.
problem. Go ahead.
I don't believe we've met yet.
That's right.
My thought is that let's see what we could, to your point, while you're chatting and while you brought this up, and I do agree, no one likes the meetings when they go long, trust me. But maybe we could try to see if we could get a few passed by 9:30. It's 9:06 right now. I hear your concern.
Yeah, but I have
I'm
a
willing to stay at least-
presentation. I have a presentation with people who are waiting to hear from me. So you want to get the awards
Okay.
done. I have a presentation about Westlake, and I have been involved with 3 professional people who want to hear back from me. So that's
Shelley,
not-
they're not
Okay.
going to hear back from you tonight because we.
No,
are
they're
going to-
not. But I
No,
still need to
Shelley,
begin the presentation.
Shelley, you are out of order. They are not going to hear back from you. This,
Of course
any-
they're not, but they
until
need to know that I'm
listen
thinking
to
about
me.
them. They
Listen
need to
me.
know that I'm thinking about them.
Yeah, well,
Mm.
okay, Krista, please, if you have a motion for the quilt, can you please?
I do have a motion, yes. I make a motion that we honor the quilt project that was presented tonight for the full amount. I believe it was $720 or $750. Either amount I make the motion for.
Okay, the
Whatever was
motion-
on the I don't have the paper in front of me, so.
Krista has made a motion to fund the AIDS quilt for $720. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
Is there a no? Are there any no's? Are there any no's? Sorry. Okay, the motion carries. $720 awarded for the AIDS quilt to come to Annapolis. Okay. I will entertain a motion on any of the other proposals here this evening. Yes, Cynthia.
I make a motion that we fund the Chambers Park summer concert series for $15,000.
Okay, Cynthia has made a motion to fund the Chambers Park program for $15,000. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. It has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any no's?
I abstain.
Who was that? I'm
One
sorry.
abstention.
Shelley,
Shelley.
abstention.
Alrighty. All right. The motion carries. Okay, what about Inner West Street and the Kunta Kinte Festival? Are there motions? Is there a motion for either of those groups? The Inner West Street for $225, or for Kunta Kinte Festival, and their request was for $15,000.
I'll move that we fund the Dinner Under the Stars for the $4,000 amount. I don't remember the exact number.
It was 4,800.
4,800.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to fund Dining Under the Stars.
Second,
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. All those in favor, it's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye to fund Dining. Okay,
Aye.
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 Okay,
but that's not what
Aye.
Are there
that's not
any,
what the
are there,
budget says. No, but that's not what the budget says.
Shelley, you're out of order.
It's not $4,800 for Dinner Under the Stars. It's like 10,000, right?
Okay, so it's 4,800 for Inner West Street.
It's for the Sunday like concert series or something. There are two things that are together that they proposed. One was like 10,000, the other was like
Dinner Under the
4,000.
Stars was 10,425, and I think the other one was Dinner Under the Stars was 4,800.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
they're two separate things. So
Right,
Dinner
two
Under the
separate
So we
Stars
just
is
said Dining
10,000.
Under the Stars for $4,800. Didn't we just say that?
No, that's not
Isn't
what
that
it
the
is.
motion?
Dinner,
That was the
Dinner-
motion.
I think it's a different. The price is different.
it's not
I
the same.
said it's not $4,800.
No,
No, it is $4,800.
not for
But
Dinner
there's
Under the
two.
Stars. Look at the proposal. The Dinner Under the Stars is like 10,000 something. The Sunday concert series is
Yeah,
4,800.
That's correct. Yeah, Dinner Under the Stars is
Well,
$10,425.
I take it back. She's right.
Okay,
Yes.
so can we amend the motion? Let's
Yeah, I
amend the
amend the motion that we make it, I don't know what to do.
4,800.
That's
So
for
Din-
the Sunday. Yeah.
For the music.
For the
Yeah, by
Sunday.
the way, they have a large bank account, so it's not a big deal, but that's not that's irrelevant to what we're doing.
Whoa.
They have made a
Guys.
good proposal for $10,000, but if we want to fund it for a different amount, we do that with
Can we-
all of them. So,
Can we stop for a second, please?
sure.
The motion is for Dinner Under the Stars, or is for the first Sundays?
For $4,800.
For Dinner Under the
Which was it for Dinner Under the Stars or for First Sundays, Jim?
For Sundays.
Jim made the motion.
I made a motion that we fund Dinner Under the Stars, but I had the wrong amount of money, and I apologize.
I make a motion to
Hold on,
amend
Carissa, hold
this
on.
motion.
Carissa, hold on, please.
Yes,
Jim,
all right.
So at this point, I think we should fund it, since we're having such difficulty, fund it for $5,000 and make that an even number
I'm sorry.
for Dinner Under the Stars.
We need a motion. We need a motion, and we need the motion to be specific. So let's
Can I
Let's
make a motion then?
amend
that's
the motion.
specific?
Yes, Krista, you may amend
Krista
the
makes the
motion,
motion.
please. Thank you.
I'd like to amend the motion to cover both proposals that are combined for the total amount for what they need for the Inner West Street, Dinner Under the Stars, and the concert series together. I think that this is something that, as Art in Public Places, we need to step up to support that whole
Well,
art
I mean,
area
that-
there. And I make a motion for that.
So
How-
it's
how much
15,000.
how much
Yeah.
money?
She said for the full amount.
15,000.
Request was
15,000.
$15,225. Is that correct, Krista?
I
15,000.
made it for 15, but we can go to 15
Okay,
too,
15,000,
if that's what
15,000.
the
So
fullest.
Krista has made,
15,000.
we have a motion to fund the Inner West Street and Dining Under the Stars for $15,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? please
I'm
say
sorry,
aye.
was it 2 seconds? Okay, my pen
Jim.
died.
Jim,
I
it's been
made it.
properly moved and seconded. I'm sorry, I didn't give you enough time to write it down. Properly moved
Nothing
and
proper
seconded.
about tonight.
At all. $15,000. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Lynn.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Is there any, are there any
Yes, I'm
no's?
opposed.
You're opposed, okay.
I'm opposed.
David, can you do the roll call, please?
Lynn,
Aye.
I'm sorry. Okay. David, I. Krista,
Aye.
Joan,
And please clarify, David, I think you said 15,000, or is it for 15,225?
I
No,
heard 15,000.
15,000, that's the motion is for
15,000.
15,000.
Cynthia,
No.
Shelley,
No.
Jim,
Aye.
motion
Motion carries.
passes.
Alrighty, do we have a motion for the Kente Kente Festival?
What's the amount on that, Lynn?
15,000, Krista.
Oh, you know what, Lynn? I wasn't supposed to vote on that. Down under the
Oh,
stars.
shoot. Okay, well, you didn't vote on it, but it's still
It still
carries.
passed, but just for the
Yes,
record.
Okay. Thank you.
Again?
I'll
Okay.
make a
And
motion
Kunta
to
Kinte,
fund
we
the
have-
Kunta Kinte Festival for $15,000.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye, except David, do not vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, I'll do the roll call
Aye.
since. Aye, okay. Are
I
there
can do
any?
the roll
are
call,
there
I just
any-
can't vote.
Well, are there any no's? Okay, so that motion carries for $15,000 for the Kunta Kinte Festival. Now, okay, so we're done with that. Stop sharing. Oh, let me total it up so you guys know how much it is.
And it's only 9:16.
Right. Okay, I
Good
can't.
job.
50,720.
Okay, $50,720 we've awarded this evening. Thank you, David. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna ask. Since we do want to hear Shelley's presentation, that we skip the committee reports because I don't think we had anything of great importance to discuss for the committee, to report from the committees. If there is a committee report that has something great, something important that we need to discuss this evening, please signify by raising your hand. Okay.
Lynn, could you just make sure you send us that spreadsheet that you have created so that we can see it like tomorrow
Yes, Jim,
morning?
I'm not going to send it. I'm going to put it in the Google.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Alrighty, Shelley.
Yes.
And the only thing that I have is that when we are ready to go, move forward for Cynthia, we just need to promote the heck out of the city doc. And once we
Yes.
get everything put together for that, let me know and I'll help promote that.
Okay, that's
That's
great,
all I
Krista,
have
because
for
you have a
outreach.
great social media presence. And so what we will do is we will get with the city, with the Park and Recs department and with the mayor's office to make sure that we develop a great marketing program so that people know. And then I'd ask that everyone share it on their social media and ask other people to share it as well, and that we all show up that first night. All right. Shelley, I'm
Yes.
going to recognize you now to make your presentation.
Okay.
So I had a little intro for Shelley, but what I asked Shelley to do was to take a look and see if we could develop some interest from consultants to help us move through the public engagement process, the application development, the review of the application, and then the award. And so I did have a conversation with two local, well-respected groups about the public engagement portion of that. And so I think that should be a part of our discussion when we discuss it in our June meeting, because it would be, I think, a good idea to have a group that knows our community, understands our culture, has relationships in the community, and can help us to bring people to the table.
Yeah.
But Shelley, go ahead. Go ahead and make your presentation.
Okay,
Shelley, can I
Thank
ask one quick question?
sure.
This is Krista. Barbara's not here because of work, and it's really serious work that she's working on the Hill. Is this presentation something that she should be present for? Because it sounds like it's really important to me, and I, just fellow commissioner wise, if you guys weren't here, I would want you guys to hear it as well. So
Okay,
is this
so-
something that we should wait?
Well, we're
Or
not
do you
going to
think that it's okay
we're
to go
not going to
forward?
make any decisions this evening, Krista, and it'll be
Okay,
recorded.
okay,
And it'll be
okay.
recorded so she can
Okay.
watch it.
And I want,
I'm always looking out for everybody. So I
Yes,
just wanted
thank
to
you.
make sure that.
Yeah, we wouldn't have made a decision on something this important without the full.
Okay.
yes, and Lynn, I thank you for skipping, and thank you everybody for deciding to allow me to go ahead. I appreciate that very much. I think it's, in part because I've been in contact with these people and I feel that I just want to keep them abreast. I'm not there's no decisions as we've talked about. And Lynn, I also would love to hear about the local consultants. I've looked into it, and I have found that I haven't found anybody who focuses on public art or art in general here in Annapolis. And I think that's important. But if you have found somebody, I'd love to hear about it. I just want for you to know that. So the next time we can talk, you can tell me about that and present it.
I would be glad to help you with that. I have somebody in mind who's local.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay. All right. Well,
But
send
let's
us-
yeah.
let's hear Shelley's proposal,
All
and
right.
then in June you can bring all of that information, Jim, or you and Shelley. You can tell Shelley the name of the group, and then and then she can do the research.
Yes, absolutely. No, I think that's great because I would love to find somebody local if it's appropriate. I just think that we need to think big because the project's big in my mind. Okay, so let me just start with next slide. Okay. So Patricia Walsh, who is, she was a public art programmer for the American for the Arts, which was a big granting foundation in New York in 2016, participated in this publication that the NEA did. And Jim pointed it out to me, which I appreciated so much. And I just have a quote from them at the beginning. And it just says, I'm just going to go ahead and read these. I have my hard copy here. So this lesson is one of the most important I've learned over my 10-year career. Hire a public arts professional when embarking on a public art project. From understanding the funding to artist management and the legal aspects of commissioning an artwork, there are professional consultants who can help you with your project. And I think she was very, firm in her thinking that you really can't do it without somebody who is guiding you along the way, who has the background. Okay, so Lynn said also, right, that we talked about it probably like a month ago. Lynn and I got together and we thought about how can we make this project go forward? How can we make it better? How can we take control back from what kind of happened from what did happen in the past and reinvigorate it, make it better so that we all feel better about the situation. So she asked me to contact some consultants, and we talked about whether or not they should be local or not, and we decided they didn't need to at that time. So I went out to look for consultants that I knew from New York, from Philly, that were really reputable. And so I contacted 5, and I had then 1 hour conversations with 3 of them. So all 3 have worked with a range of city community sizes. They all have extensive experience with community involvement, which I know everybody is very interested in. I think that that's something that consultants do in general. They know that, especially if they're not like in a big city where that is already kind of invested into the proposal. They're all excellent communicators. They're aware of our recent call for proposals and see the public feedback as an opportunity rather than an impediment. And I do want to stress that this was interesting because the first time that I talked to somebody, she Googled Westgate, and I didn't bring it up with her, and she saw right away what had happened. And I realized, excuse me, that this had to be something that we talked about above the board, that we really needed to embrace it and not like make it seem like it's an embarrassment, because it doesn't have to be. It was an experiment. And they also think that, and I think this is interesting because all of us who live here, we don't necessarily think about that site as being exceptional, but when people see it online and they're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing site you could have, like a public art piece. It's so large, it's so public, everyone sees it. And even though you can't actually walk to it, or that could change, but I think that they saw it as something that was very unique. And they're also aware of our budget and willing to kind of work with us on it. They also would like to maybe potentially help us fundraise for it, which is something really important to think about. Jim, did you? Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these guys. First, Jennifer McGregor. She is the founder of Jennifer McGregor Consulting in New York. She was the first director of New York City's Percent for Art program, which was a big deal, from 1983 to 1990. And then she founded her own consultancy in 1990. And then from 1999 to 2020, she conceived of a place-based public art projects at Wave Hill. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about it, but it's a great public art and cultural center in the Bronx. I'm going to try to get, okay. And she has realized public art plans or produced public art in the following places. And that's just a sampling. Everybody here tonight that I'm talking about has extensive experience throughout the country. And so her services include, because we can make a choice about whether or not how much we want a consultant to be involved. They can just be involved with the planning, or they can be, periodically consulting us throughout the process. And it really kind of depends on what we want. But there are people who are more specifically geared towards certain processes, depending on what we want. So her distinguishing factor is that she's independent. She's experienced in producing public art in environmental landscape settings, which is slightly different than the other two that I'm going to describe because of her commitment to the climate. This is just a picture of like a community engagement meeting that they organized.
Been there, done that.
Yep, been there, done that. This is a piece that they produced in Brooklyn. I don't know if you guys know the artist Fred Wilson, but he's really well respected artist who lives in New York. This is another piece. Which is kind of funny because it's like a tree. There's a lot of like kind of tree related things, which I talked to Jim about at one point. Like it's kind of, I don't know what it is about trees and public spaces, but Okay, and this is so this is Meredith McKinney. She is a partner. She co-founded a place called VIA in 1999. It's very well respected. The VIA partnership has offices in Florida and New York and St. Louis. She has a huge network of public art consultants on the East Coast, from New York to Florida, with extensive experience in the DC region. So she has been down here. She does understand the area, and I don't think I have it in here, but she has been to Maryland, I think Fredericksburg, that there's work that her consultant agency is doing there. She also sent me a really great, comprehensive, concise, doable work plan, like a 3-page plan that was set out in such a way that if we all got together, we could look at it and say, wow, this is great from start to finish if we want to do it. It's very easy to follow, and it kind of can kind of put my mind at ease a little bit about the enormity of the project at hand. So she has realized our public art projects, or produce them here in these other places.
Good.
Yep. And she does, so she, like the others, planning, community engagement's like big time for everybody, because anytime that you have a public art project, that's probably the most important thing, is getting buyback from the community. Artist selection, which you know, Lynn and I talked about the fact that an open call is what she would prefer. And yes, that is definitely something we can do. There's also ways to modify an open call, which we can talk about, to make it less, so that it's a little more, what is the word I'm looking for? So just selective right off the top. So we don't have to go through, 150 applicants at the same time. There are ways to do that. She's also, she is involved in fabrication and installation management, which is a huge part about public art, because I think some of that goes by the wayside. We don't think about the water lines underneath. We don't think about the lighting. And all those things really, all those things become very, what's the word? They become expensive over time, and they're things that aren't necessarily factored into the process. Okay, so distinguishing factors: she can provide project management services in addition to planning, right? She has extensive experience working in capital cities, which, sometimes I think we might forget that we are one of those capital cities. Here's some examples of, I'm not really sure exactly, where is this at? Arlington, Virginia. It's a little confusing about what that is, but I think it's a chair with a camera on top of it. And this is another tree. It's but it's made out of like glass. And so it's all like, it shimmers in the sun. Okay, and the last one is Monument Lab, which is based in Philadelphia. And I've been talking to Paul Farber, who's a co-founder. They're a very innovative group. It's relatively new. It was founded in 2012 by him, who's an historian and an educator, and Ken Lum, who's an internationally recognized artist. They have a very innovative, if you go on their website, you will be like so inspired by how they envision their work. So it's a new nonprofit with the social purpose and innovative ideas, and it receives major funding from the Mellon Foundation. But at the same time, Paul sits on the board of the Mellon Foundation. He can't directly make any decisions, but he can recommend us for funding. Just as an aside, and not as, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so he has planning, community engagement, artist selection, fabrication, installation management. Right. He's focused on untold stories. So it's about monuments. It's about thinking about the monuments that are already in cities, readjusting them, rethinking them, or removing them, which is, really prevalent right now. And so, and I'll show you a couple examples of their thinking about that. And then, yes, he will provide potentially an introduction to the Mellon Foundation, which is investing $500 million in new monuments and sculptures. So, and it just came out like a couple months ago. Everybody's super excited about it. And we could be right on the cusp of finding some of that funding, but I don't want that to be at the same time. It's not like a, something where just because of that, we should go with them. That's a picture of them at a community rally. This is a piece by a yeah, it's her thumbprint. She's Native American. It was just, and all these pieces, by the way, were just like installed literally within the last 5 years, the pieces I'm showing you. And this is a piece by Karen Olivier, and it's in Philadelphia. And this is actually something a monument that's on top of a monument. So she took something in a park and then made her own. You can see it's like glass, and I'm not sure exactly what the material is, but so she kind of took that over, as a way to control the narrative. Okay, so that's kind of it, but I just wanted to say as an aside that we know that hiring a public art consultant is a rather expensive investment. But in this case, it's critical because it's critical and because the project deserves it. And the Westgate Circle sculpture should make a statement about Annapolis, what we stand for, our history, which is often fraught, and our own unique beauty as a small coastal town that is also the capital of a very populous state.
Thank you, Shelley. I think that I thank you. We appreciate all the work you've done.
This is wonderful.
Can I just show you the fee? I'm going to show you the fees. I have a fee. The fee slide. Here we go.
No, we don't need to see the fee slide. We don't really don't need to see that.
We'll get to the money later.
Well,
okay.
Any kind
Oh, it's a Lynn. I thought you wanted them to see that. Okay.
No, okay. So thank you, Shelley, for the work that you've done. We really appreciate it. What I will say is that we know that this process is very important to our community, and we are well aware of that, and we are going to start with the community. And so I want everyone who's watching or who may watch this as a recording to rest assured that even though we may all have opinions about what it should mean to the city and what the theme should be and all those things, it doesn't matter what any one of us as an individual thinks. The important part is that the community's voice is heard and that we select something that we can say that we all had a part of. We may not all like it. We may not all think it's beautiful, but we will all have an opportunity to have our say. And so I thank Shelley for her work the research that she's done. There is a great deal more research to be done. Jim, if you could please share with Shelley the name of the group that is local, that would be great. And Shelley, if you could also share all of the documents, the emails that you've received from the consultants that you've spoken with. And we will put them all in the Google Drive so that we all have access to them, so that we can all review them. And then we will start to work on an agenda for the June meeting and for the June work session. And at that work session, we will begin to come to some decisions about what the process will be and how we will conduct the decision making.
Well,
Alrighty,
I don't agree with that, Lynn, because I am here to work on this, and it can't be. We are going to make decisions together, but I'm not going to share everything that I have.
Oh, you
still
absolutely
share
have to.
everything?
This is not
you
your
share,
money.
Oh, you share everything that you get from a committee member or anybody?
I
from
absolutely
outside?
do.
From outside?
absolutely
You
do.
mean from outside the committee?
Absolutely
You share
do.
You share
I absolutely.
what you
I
get from outside the committee with me?
Shelley, everything that I receive in an email, I share on the Google Drive. Yes, I do.
No.
And
People
we're
from the outside. People from the outside?
with the commission.
Point of order. Point of order. This is Krista. It's
Thank you, Krista.
9:41.
Thank you.
That
Shelley,
was a wonderful
we're way
presentation,
beyond where we
Shelley.
want.
Yeah,
Yes.
really. You guys have this
And
conversation offline, dude.
right.
Let's
And
wrap this up.
Shelley,
And Shelley,
Can
go ahead, Chris.
wait a
I'm sorry.
minute.
Go
I've
ahead.
got the floor.
Go
I've
ahead,
got
Chris.
the
I'm
floor
sorry.
with point of order. I've got the floor with point of order. I want to
Okay,
support you
go ahead,
ladies in
go
your
ahead.
discussion offline. Shelley, thank you so much for your presentation. Lynn, thank you for a great meeting. But I'm going to try to make a motion right now. I hope everyone will agree and understand why I'm making it, that we adjourn for the night. If there's not any other pressing business tonight, these are all very important topics and things that we all care about. And so with a kind heart, I just say that it's been a long meeting, and I think it's time. It's 9:41.
It's your motion,
I think it might be a good idea
Krista, you made the
to make the
motion.
motion to
Is there a
end the
second?
meeting. End the
Is there a
meeting.
second to the motion?
I need a
Thank you,
second.
David. Good night, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Night. Thanks, Shelley.